proto light alloys.
Hi, it's Zabo1975 and welcome to Elite Dangerous on the Legacy version on Xbox. Now everyone knows I love small ships and I love fixed missiles, so one of my subscribers popped over to attack me in a fixed missile Eagle. I think he had mines on there as well. Kind of a nightmare ship for me because of the speed differential between that and my Cobra Mark IV. Cobra Mark IV is probably, I don't know, one of the slowest small ships in the game, I'll say that. I do tend to prefer the slower ships, the slower, heavier, tankier ships than the faster, lighter ships. And even when I build a faster, lighter ship, I normally make my version of it a slower, tankier build. I'm just a slower, tankier build kind of guy. It does put me in a disadvantage in a lot of situations when it comes to these sort of small hit and run type ships. And yeah, I stuck around for a bit, having fun shooting it, trying to hit him with fixed missiles, but man, that's quite a challenge. And also, like, it's just whizzing past me, and I've got no shields, so his missiles are just going to rip me apart. But you know, I didn't want to immediately jump out, even though I'm in a pirate ship, so I thought I'd try and hit some shots. But it was, yeah, an interesting build, very similar to one of the TOC guys who runs that sort of lightweight, super fast, sort of almost racing Imperial Eagle style of build. Yeah, if you ram it, that's probably going to kill it, but you know, Indra, who runs one in TOC, is very proficient with it. It can be a real nuisance. Plus, I like the way he's got his setup with the corrosive missile. I'm a big lover of the corrosive missile. It's, I mean, people joke about it not being that effective, but in a wing, if you have a corrosive multi-cannon in the wing and a corrosive missile rack, the enzyme missile rack, the two combined, oh, that's big stacking into ripping armor apart. Not that like useful with these days, but you know, it's a good fun weapon and I like to see it used. And I think Indra uses plasma charges on his Eagle. So anyway, I knew that after a couple of videos I did, Mr. Goodwood did look at small ships, and he sent me this clip that he was very chuffed with, where his tiny little Eagle with some timely synthesis for more missiles is actually killing a vet, which is, you know, pretty damn decent work, to be honest. If you're taking out vets in small ships, that's good work. I mean, that's really, I don't care how weak the vet was or problems with the vet or anything like that. You've got to give credit to the small ship for taking out a ship of that size anytime that happens, even if it is one that, you know, probably wasn't the strongest. But yeah, cracking to see. And like I say, I love the fact that he's using fixed missiles. I've been on about the AX missile racks for ages because of the amount of ammo you get, the damage per shot. Okay, the shot speed isn't the best, so it, you know, it's not the easiest thing in the world to use and hit with, but they are so much fun and they're so rewarding when they do hit. It is quite funny being like known as being the gimbal scrub, considering the amount of ships I use that actually have fixed weapons on them. And fixed missile racks, I love. They're way more fun to use than simple plasmax, and actually have a much slower shot speed, so are more challenging to use than plasmax. But there we go. I digress. So anyway, I thought I'd mess around with him for a little bit in this mismatch of ships, and like, it was quite enjoyable. It was pretty much just, I have this major weakness when it comes, mine laying ships do me over and super fast ships do me over. I don't really have a counter for them, and I'm kind of, at this point in my Elite Dangerous playing time, I'm loath to keep building more ships. I do kind of have one ship that kind of counters these builds, but it doesn't effectively do it very well. Because one of the things I would say is, if you're going to attack in one of these sort of ships, you want to be in a group of people because you want to be able to dip in and out of the fight. When you're on your own, it's much more difficult to dip in and out and stay elusive and alive. If you're in a big wing fight, people are just going to leave you alone. Occasionally, if they see you coming, they might try and line up for a ram, but as long as you're on your game, you should easily be able to avoid most things that are going to happen. I mean, they are And with mines, they can be very, very effective at taking out much bigger prey. I'm a big advocate for small ships. They're way more fun, they're way sillier. If you lose, no one cares, and if you win, it's much more satisfying. That's, to be honest, the joy of small ships. The one thing I would say about small ships that is a danger is missiles and railguns mess up small ships fast. And if you're planning to use mines, one of the things that people kind of neglect to tell you when you're using mine launchers is if a mine launcher malfunctions or gets taken down to zero, boy does it mess everything up, because basically it just launches all the mines on yourself and you basically end up with a redundant ship. So that's something to be worried about or cautious about. But if you're going to avoid the railguns, the missiles and the module damage, small fast zoomer ships are great fun. They're very annoying and they're very good at doing what they do, especially mine laying versions. The super zoomers, Viper Mark IIIs, Couriers and Imperial Eagles, they get up to some ridiculous speeds. They can, like I say, be incredibly challenging to deal with. A flock of them attacking you can be super annoying. This is me and Al trying to deal with Goodwood's annoying one. He's in his Death Star Condor trying to hit it with fixed long range beams. At least they're long range, and because he's distracted by the brightness and Al's beams, I'm able to get in there with a couple of missiles and do a bit of damage and eventually take out his missile rack. His mine launcher rack. So causing problems in this one. But yeah, my ship's 642 meters per second is nothing compared to what those guys can do. My lightweight Mamba is probably the fastest ship that I own, and it's still nowhere near as fast as Indrel's Imperial Eagle or this Imperial Eagle that I'm fighting. So ultimately I don't really have a good counter for these sort of small builds, and I'm certainly not good enough with railguns to be able to counter them. You bring one of these out against someone like Ragnar Scott, Bay or Flipper Gold, and they will just railgun your drives out or railgun your systems out. You have to be quite careful against certain people, but there's very few people left on Xbox of that sort of caliber with the railguns, and controller and railguns is way more difficult, I feel, than mouse and keyboard and railguns. But that's just my opinion, and there is evidence that it's not, because I've seen Walking Dead use railguns and he uses controller on PC, and I'm still amazed at what that guy can do with a controller. What that guy can do, that guy plays a completely different game to the one I play as far as I'm concerned, with what he can do with a spaceship. And that comes from fighting him about, I don't know, 5-6 times, and I think I got his shields down once, and I'm using all gimbal shit. That guy seriously just runs rings around me like I'm not even engaged in a fight. I'm just being destroyed. Anyway, that's all for me talking. Enjoy this little clip, and I'll say that's all. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one, and enjoy the small ships.
Trying to stay away from them. They'll be blowing up in it. They'll be blowing up in the tubes. He's trying to keep away from me. Is that what I've done, or is it what you've done? I'm too far away.